Hey everybody, welcome to the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast. This is Emmett, and today I had a great conversation and interview with Sasha Laghonh. We talked about some really cool things about, your intuition, business, and just kind of how to carry yourself on the journey. I want you to just sit back, relax, and because we had a great time talking to each other, and just kind of get in tune to what her message is, and also go to her website as well. That is sashatalks.com. Stay tuned for the interview. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast. My name is Emmett Muckles. Happy Monday to you. I hope you had a wonderful time over the holiday. As I don't want to date this podcast too much, so there's a lot of holidays that this could be around. I have a wonderful guest today. Her name is Sasha Laghonh. And we're going to talk a great deal about business and intuition and books and radio shows, and this woman is into so many things, and I just saw her profile and it got excited, and I was so happy that she reached out, or we were able to communicate, and I could have her on the Billionaire Lifestyle Show. So I'd like to welcome you, Sasha. How are you today?
Thank you, Emmett, for having me. I hope you had a wonderful holiday. I'm doing well, thank you.
Good. So I want to commend you for one thing, that your website is beautiful, and you can go to sashatalks.com, correct? That is your website?
Yes.
It is a beautiful website. I envy your website a little bit.
Thank you, but to let everybody know out there, I am never satisfied with how the website looks. That every time I look at it, I give it like an okay rating, because I have created it on my own, that it works for now, and I like the image because I spent so much time on the road that I feel I'm at one. I'm a road warrior, and thank you for letting me know. It's a work in progress.
But it's good, though. It's good to get feedback from people. So I'm going to ask you for your elevator speech, because you do so many things, or your hands are involved in so many things. What is your core focus?
I offer self-development, professional development, and business development services. I come from a background of business with a bachelor's from Boston University School of Management, where I focused on management, operations, and marketing. And then I have an MBA in global management. Awesome. That is one of my primary careers. And then my competing career comes from the spiritual sector, where I am a life strategist and spiritual coach.
So tell me about this spiritual. I'm gonna delve into this. Tell me about the spiritual coach side. Is it just interpersonal coaching, or is it group or organization? What does it all entail?
Sure. When I started out with the spiritual counseling, I specifically offered energy readings, which falls under the entertainment and metaphysical realm. And I refrain from using any questionable terms such as psychic or so, because when you think of that word, allegedly, it means that you're applying all of your senses and your third eye and your sixth sense or the seventh sense. And there are many professionals out there who capitalize upon their intuition. All of us are born with it, whether or not we apply it and acknowledge it. Yet that is how I started out, working among smaller circles. A lot of people in my personal life knew about it, but I believe it was about several years ago that I started sharing that intuitive gift, where I am clairsentient, clairvoyant, and claircognizant. Claircognizant means the inner knowing. You just have information that comes to you without even seeking it out. Clairsentient is where you feel things, and I view it as it's on a cellular level. I just am able to pick up things. I am an empath, where I could pick up on the emotions and the circumstances of other people. And clairvoyance has to do with having the visual ability to see things. And I should also mention that I am also clairaudient, meaning that at times I could hear messages coming to me, whether it's from spirit or the other realm.
So let me kind of jump in here for a second. So a lot of
Sure.
times in business, people will say, "Hey, I did this on a hunch," or "I had a gut feeling." So do you feel that other people have this ability, but they're just not in tune with it, or they're just not promoting it? Give me your thoughts on that.
I do, sure. I do believe everyone is born with gut feelings, and I am a strong believer of them because I've offered many talks where I tell people, regardless of who you are, where you are, and what you do in life, listen to your gut feeling. It's usually that feeling that cannot be overridden by our mind and our thoughts. And a lot of people confuse the messages that come from their mind, their monkey mind, because we're constantly thinking and overanalyzing, and then we talk ourselves out of making good decisions. And I'm the queen of always making questionable decisions. And then the gut feeling is the one where you try to override it, saying, no, I should go forth with this business decision. This is an example. Or it could be in your dating life that I shouldn't be dating this person, but I'm still going to do it just because. And then later in time, as life pans out, you realize, okay, I did have a forewarning. I did not have a good gut feeling, but I tried to make myself feel better by mitigating the circumstances, by rationalizing all the reasons why I should give this person a chance, why I should befriend this person, why I should invest my money in this endeavor. And we have to remember that we are human. We're always going to be making decisions. God knows how many decisions we make in a day. It could be hundreds, from should I get out of the bed when the alarm rings to what am I going to eat, or was I going to call you on time today for our talk. But there's no such thing as a right or wrong decision. We make decisions and we constantly keep refining them to accommodate our reality. And all of us perceive our reality differently. So in order for us to move forward in life, emotionally, mentally, and physically, we're going to keep refining our decision that serves us well. It doesn't mean that we have to be selfish about it, but we have to be realistic as what's working out and what's not working. Either we choose to be hard-headed and keep on forcing a relationship to work that you know is meant and doomed to go to hell, or you are mature enough to say, I did everything in my power, I choose to move on.
So let me ask you this. Recently, our country seems to be kind of divided. And do you think that is do you think it is a spiritual thing, or is it just a human, ego thing?
I think it's both, because I am just left speechless by observing everything that has panned out in the last 2-3 years on a social level out there, because there's so much negativity out there. Everybody wants attention. Everyone wants to be heard. It's me, and all of these social injustices that are occurring. It seems that people are looking outside for validation from one another instead of looking within themselves and grounding themselves and having a focus on their life. There were too many people busy pointing fingers at everybody else and preaching, this is how you should live your life, this is how your kids should be, this is what a good marriage looks like, this is how much money you need to make in order to be considered successful. Everyone is looking outside, technically throwing stones at one another, and that leaves everybody blind. I feel more people have to take a step back and look within themselves with what's going on and where they need to work on themselves. We live in a fast food society where you want solutions at a click. You pick up the phone, you just want a solution, you want to pay somebody, they're going to fix your life. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
In order for our life to break down, it takes some time and questionable judgment to reach that point. And it takes more, I would say, humility and a bit of hesitance, but we have to grow up emotionally and realize that only we could fix the things that are broken in our own path instead of pointing fingers and blaming other people for it.
You said something very interesting to me, which is it's something that my wife always says to me. She says, I'll be feeling kind of restless and just not right. And she'll say, you need to ground yourself. You need to ground yourself. And a couple of years ago, I started doing this thing. I travel a great deal across the country. So whenever I would go to an ocean or a very large body of water, the first thing I would do is I would get off the plane, no matter what I had on my agenda, go to the ocean, and I would stick my feet at the water's edge, just grind them down into the sand and just kind of reset. How would you suggest people ground themselves, so that they can, navigate this life?
That is an open-ended question, so I'll do my best to address that some aspect
I'm
of
sorry.
it. Oh no, it's okay. It's a perfect question because there's so much room for us to discuss it, but also welcome the audience to ponder over it. I'm a big fan of water, and I've always thought water therapy is a great thing, whether you're taking a long hot shower, going out to the ocean, or just surrounded by water. And I do that a few times during the year because I split time between the West Coast and the East Coast. Grounding comes in many different forms. Some people meditate because they need to take a time out to quiet that monkey mind. And I remember a decade ago, if you told me to meditate, I would probably have laughed at it because I was like a firecracker constantly going off. And it takes a lot of discipline. Some people work out to burn off that excess energy, which I do almost every day. Prayer, and it doesn't have to be a religious prayer. It could be a spiritual prayer where you're not only saying thank you for the blessings that have come your way, thank you for your health, thank you for the ability to put food on the table, thank you for the great weather out there. It could be something really basic. A lot of times people think that if you're going to do a gratitude prayer, it has to be thanking for something miraculous that happens every day. And I'm sure you and I both know that miracles may exist, but at the same time, we have to appreciate what we have, or else we're not going to be any happier when we are blessed with more things in our life.
So let me ask you this quick question. So how did you arrive to who you are and what you are today with Sasha Talks? And you have some projects that we're going to talk about a little bit later, but you say you were this firecracker person and you were a different kind of spiritual individual than you were then. How did you get to this point?
I think some people who know me from a decade ago don't even believe that I'm the same person today. And I wasn't a bad person then. It was just that I had a lot of energy, even though I was an intuitive myself. I never acknowledged it to strangers out there that I have the ability to read circumstances and do energy readings and apply other senses in order to reach my decisions in my life. But I started out, of course, in corporate at least over 16 years ago. And I realized a pattern that I was good at doing all of the business stuff, but I would outgrow these positions emotionally and mentally. And then I had that burst of energy, and I needed to know, what am I going to do next? It was as I was taking on opportunities, and the moment I took them on, I was already planning out my exit strategy. And after several of those experiences, I told myself that's not a way to live your life where you're taking on opportunities and you're also thinking about the exit. Something is not right. Where I was living a life of a checklist of you reach certain milestones, you check it off. But if you questioned me about the journey, I wouldn't be able to recall my journey because I was too fixated on making it to my destination. And that meant I needed to slow down and actually learn to relive life where I'm mindful of day-to-day stuff and realize that the journey is more important than the destination. And it was, of course, a very grueling process because I've seen money come, I've seen money go, and I started from scratch. I've seen great opportunities come into my life, and at the same time, there are many things outside of your control. It could be a horrible economy, and things could be taken away from you. And I think it was a great lesson for me because I know how to live on practically nothing, but I also know how to be humble enough to enjoy the comforts that I have and not be so attached to it, thinking that if it were taken away from me, let's say tomorrow, I'm not going to be lost without an identity. Because we live in a society where we don't realize it, but a lot of people relate to what they do for a living than who they are. And in the past 7-8 years, I've learned to focus on who I am versus what I do for a living. Because when we network and we ask people, oh, what do you do? Who are you? Usually people are are going to respond with their occupation or their title
That's true.
before they talk about who they are, or I'm Mark, I'm married with two wonderful kids, or this is my passion. We usually hear people talk about work because in this society, in this country, it's all about chasing the dollar. These are the things that are going to make you happy, allegedly. And a lot of people think that you have to follow this checklist of going to the top schools, getting this, pursue this occupation because it's the hot career at the moment. And you're going to do it for the money. When you do things for the wrong reasons, regardless of what part of life it is, sooner or later, you're going to pay the karmic debt and realize this is not everything that it's cracked out to be. And I've been there, I've done that. And to this day, there are some friends and family who may differ with me on these topics because there are a lot of people I know who live their life, quote unquote, in a safe way. And then there are some people like me, they might consider me to be a little bit high risk because I'm willing to try new things and put myself out there before an audience and say, I came back, I didn't like it. I don't like to use the word fail, but I'm not good at it, but I'll give it a try.
So let me ask you, you have a show which is online that you can reach by going to Sasha Talks, correct? SashaTalks.com. And how do you find people who have the same mindset and same vision as you? Because, I know that if you look for people, they will come. And I've seen on your show that you have people that are putting forth, various messages that kind of all blend together with this kind of simplicity and get back to who you are. How did that come about? How did you, say, I'm going to do this show?
So since the inception of Sasha Talks Spirituality was more of a metaphysical entertainment show where people would call in with their questions, and I would gauge their circumstances at that time and provide live readings, which was great. But I also found something wrong with it, that a lot of people would just rely on the question and answers from other people, but they weren't willing to take the actions to improve their circumstances on their own. Now, that's not a reflection of everybody who I've had the pleasure of talking to, but it was more of an entertainment platform. Awaken with Sasha was a little bit similar, but I used to invite people from the metaphysical field to share their craft. And then there is Moving Mountains with Sasha that was kicked off in early 2016. And I said, I'm going to reach out to people, pick up the phone or email them, and if they're interested in sharing their inspiration and how they changed their life around, how they became an author, how they run a business, how their life went from boom to bust and bust to boom, they're more than welcome to drop by. And then I also put out the ad requesting if anybody wants to share the pitch, and I was left speechless because I said, who's going to come and want to actually talk to me? And I was left speechless because the first round of pitches were in the triple digits, and I haven't completed all of them, but just to kickstart the following year, I sent out that pitch, the request again, and I have my inbox is full. I am humbled by it, but I have to be realistic, and I think this is a platform to share that when people pitch to different shows and different hosts, they should know that if their message aligns with the host's missions and values, it's only a matter of time that we'll be able to reach back. Because sometimes people are pitching ideas that fall completely out of the realm of what I stand for. And because of that, I cannot pursue that pitch further.
That makes sense. That makes total sense. And that's why I was so kind of excited and enamored when, our paths began to cross. And the fact that also, too, you're in the process of putting forth this book, which is Cashing Karma. And so how was that experience? And I know I don't know if it's ready right now or if it's in the future or if it's in the near future, but can you speak a little bit about putting this together, how it came to fruition, and when it'll be available for the public?
Yes, Cashing Karma with a K. The message is we reap what we sow, and it focuses on people seeking job opportunities, career opportunities, or any type of life opportunity, how to pursue it. I zone in on the aspect of job opportunities because there are many individuals, whether they're young students, academics, seasoned professionals out there, whether it's globally or within North America, who go about seeking their jobs, and often I find certain behaviors that they engage in that sabotages their opportunities. And there are so many websites out there how to find a job. There are so many tips that you could receive, but I just wanted to cut through all of that hoopla and just share with them the things that have worked for me, some guidance that I've received, and some guidance coming from me sharing with them. And I think it would be really important for them to read the foreword, which is about 2-3 pages, that sets the tone of the book. Because if you skip those parts and just jump to the chapters that interest you, you're going to realize that some of the information you know already, but you don't know the context in which I'm presenting it. And this book will be available in the near future. It is literally in the last stage of production. I'm going to make sure it will be available also as order to print. And we're going to take it from there. And I am trying to put together also possibly a podcast that complements the book, where I break down the topics, and it will be more as a monologue where people could click on that topic and listen to it, but it will not be an audiobook.
I was about to ask, is it going to be an audiobook? And well, that got answered. So you can go to www.sashatalks.com/books.html to gather some more information or follow its progress. And I kind of want to focus in on, what do you do with your clients? So you say you work with businesses as well, and you work. Yes, go ahead. I'm sorry. You work with businesses, and you work with individuals for their business, correct?
Yes, I restarted taking small business clients at the moment, and there are individual clients who come, whether they work for, let's say, a private sector or public sector or well-known company. Only they would make it known that they're a client of mine, because I do offer them confidentiality. And if they want to make their presence known that I'm working with Sasha, that is up to them. But I'm really particular about people that I work with, because I need to know that they're serious about making progress, not that they're thinking about it, and maybe I'll get to it later in time. Because you and I both know that there are only 24 hours in a day, and I cannot be investing my time in somebody who's going to be just talking about it, but not executing those actions. And I typically make it clear, usually with the individuals, that just because we pay someone for a service, it could be anybody out there, it doesn't mean that they're going to fix your life overnight. I'm there to not only help people improve themselves, but also inspire them and make them realize that there's so much potential in them, and empower them to be brave enough to make those decisions. There are so many people out there that are afraid of making decisions because of the fear that they're going to make the wrong decision. And God forbid people take heed of accountability.
That's a good one, because one of the things in my life is that I am constantly trying to see if I'm going to fail, because you may not. And it's taken me on a great journey where I've accumulated a lot of skills, and I've had a lot of great experiences as well. And it's also led me to some great mentors. Who are some of the people that you admire in this space that we live in?
I know a few well-known people over the past few years, but I will focus on those that have been in my life from the beginning. And I would say that my emotional support and my emotional confidence is derived from my parents, because I grew up in a home where, of course, it's all of us adults now, but I was the youngest. I don't have a brother. So all of us were treated as we were all competent enough to go out and pursue whatever we wanted. My parents never told me that I had to pursue a certain profession. I had to make X amount of money in order to be considered one of their children. there was no pressure in that sense. All they cared was I was happy, healthy, and enjoying what I did. And if I didn't enjoy what I was doing at that time outside of the required education, they never pushed me to go do it because they realized that I always gravitated towards the arts. And then, of course, my profession is really practical when you're dealing with business matters. Now, in terms of those who inspire me are day-to-day people, because I've learned the hard way that sometimes when we look up to people, we forget that they're also human. And then when you cross paths with them, we have a certain image of them. And then we realize, wait, they didn't turn out to be exactly how I perceived them to be. They're just as human as we are. So I just enjoy the presence of day-to-day people because I've learned so much from them. And there have been a few people, I will not share names, that have been really humble to reach out to me and give me guidance. Because I remember when Sasha Talks came out, I'm one of those people, I had to force myself to try out the radio. I don't have the radio voice, I don't come from the industry, but I told myself, you're going to try it out and grow from it. And if the moment you stop enjoying it, you could walk away from it. But at least you have to try it. Don't knock it until you've tried it. And I'm also somebody who grew up when the telephone would ring, I would run. I hated taking phone calls. I hated doing all of this. At that time, there was no virtual or remote technology. But the whole idea of being around people, and it's a constant work in progress for me because when you're around people, it takes up a lot of energy. And that's where I become really picky with the type of people I keep around me.
Okay. Now, I want to ask you, you say that you didn't really want to do radio because you had this thing with your voice, but you're a very great visual person. Why haven't you done YouTube or something like that?
My niece has told me that, and she told me that you would be good at doing videos. And she said, you have a thick skin where you could just put up with people. And I started laughing at her. And I said, that is something I could consider. One of the things that I'm in the midst of doing, which I cannot make a formal announcement for, is serving as a mentor or speaker where teachers reach out to you and they ask you if you're going to join them for a video chat, and then they tell you where they teach and what are the topics. And I believe I might be starting that in the coming month. So I'm going to try that out on video chat where I will be talking to students with specific questions and topics. And that will be slowly getting me into that video chat conversation. I think you would be great on YouTube. I would watch you. I'm not going to punish the audience with them having me look at me and hear my voice.
See, we're just throwing compliments back and forth at each other. It's all good, though. All right, so you've told me about your mentors. You told me how you kind of develop things. Where do you want to go? What's the next brick in your journey on this road in life?
The book thing, I've always thought about it. Every year when it's New Year's, I'm not big on resolutions. I'm the type where I just make a list of things that I would like to pursue and take it day by day. I have a list of about 7, 8 other books that I would like to author that are pertinent to the realm of Sasha Talks that I will start on the next one. But right now I'm working on Cash and Karma because how that goes, the logistics of it, and the process behind the writing. A lot of people think that once you write a book, you just throw it out into the air, and it doesn't work that way.
Oh, I know that one.
And I'm learning it as we go because I recall you and I had that offline conversation. Writing is truly a lot of thinking. A lot of thinking went into this and the planning, and then you have to execute it from step by step. I had at least 8 different drafts, and then I had a professional offer their guidance. And then there's one more step for me to go through in order for the hard copies to be ordered so that I could share them with a few people and then release it on a broader platform. And this process will teach me how to mimic the other books that will come out.
Okay. Now, you also have a blog. So you have a website, then you have a blog, which is radiosasha.blogspot.com. And
yeah.
Was that first or was the website first? Because, a lot of times people they start with a blog nowadays and then move to a website. What was the combination of that?
That's a good question. I didn't think of that. Sasha Talks, the website existed way before radiosasha.blogspot. The radiosasha.blogspot was created to showcase the latest shows and segments and present them in different formats, because it's also a podcast, it's also a show, and then as a courtesy, when I have time, I also put it on YouTube. And I have disabled the comments on that YouTube channel because it forces people who are listening to go to that guest, their website, and connect with them directly, then assuming that they could leave a comment and the guest is going to come and correspond with them on that YouTube channel. That is the reason behind that. And before Radio Sasha, there were two other Sasha Talks blogs, but they were more geared towards spirituality, how to do grounding, meditation. When Sasha's going to be doing her next energy reading on a global platform, it was more of that nature, and that is all fine. But I thought it's time to start sharing more information that people could apply than just read.
Very good, very good, very good. So how can people contact you, such as Twitter, Facebook, the whole shebang bang?
If they just want to drop a hello, they could go to sashatalks.com on the contact page. Just drop me a line. Sasha Talks is also on YouTube, Twitter. On Twitter, I'm Coach Lago. I'm trying to think.
Now we have to be
platforms. I can't keep track.
We have to be clear when you say Lago. That's Laghonh, correct?
Yes, correct. Thank you.
Because I understand. I would hear it and I would go Lago. So I have to make it clear for people who want to reach out to you and interact with you as a person or as a.
Thank you. I will admit that we take our own names for granted, that we just assume that another person will get it.
My name is Emmett Muckles. That has been mutilated in my lifetime. It has been absolutely.
Really? I think it is a cool name. I like the last name.
Yeah, it was one of those things that, when you're a kid, you stand out when you're growing up in inner city Detroit. Your name is Emmett Muckles, and people just look at you like you're an alien. And I was a nerdy kid too, so it didn't really help out.
I was going to say, it comes off a little bit intimidating. Especially
now, because I was a small kid, but I kind of became somewhat of a little bit of a formidable physical entity after I hit 18.
You're too humble. You look like a grown gentleman.
I am a gentleman.
People should go out and check out his website and his a picture on LinkedIn.
My thing is about this, and this is why I have guests like you on, and it's to promote goodness. So my website is the Billionaire Lifestyle, and it is not necessarily about money, although money is a resource, and you have to be conscious of that resource because it can be energy coming in or it can be energy coming out. That's how it is. That's just one level of it, because you don't need to chase it constantly. You need to find out what you need, as in Maslow's hierarchy of needs kind of deal. Then you need to find that spiritual thing within you so that you can move forward and prosper, so that when you get to that end of the journey, you can feel happy about it. Our interviews are typically about 30 minutes, and we're at the 33-minute mark, and I want to make sure that people could reach out to you. Is there a phone number that you would like to give, if possible? You can say no.
The phone. Well, people could look up the phone number on sashatalks.com. It's the toll-free number, but I take usually by appointment. So if I'm already doing a talk or I'm in session, the person would be left waiting. So just go to sashatalks.com. and leave me a message on the contact page, and that is the fastest way to get an acknowledgement.
Yeah, she is. She's pretty good about, returning correspondence, so to speak. I want to thank you so much for being a guest on the Billionaire Lifestyle podcast. Please, if you're listening to this, leave a message on the blog, which is emmettmuckles.com. And you can also get to the same place by going to thebillionairelifestyleinc.com. Reach out to me on Facebook, The Billionaire Lifestyle Coach, because The Billionaire Lifestyle was taken. And always on YouTube. And my name is Emmett Muckles. I'd like to thank Sasha. You've been so awesome. Check out her picture, too. She's pretty hot. And
thank you for having me. I had a lot of fun.
All right.
It went by pretty quick.
Yeah, it does. It goes by pretty quick. So I usually leave a message. So today or tomorrow, you're going to do something that you've done a billion times in your life. You're going to wake up and you're going to go into the shower. You're going to take a shower. You're going to look into the mirror. When you look into the mirror, I want you to just look at that person, because that person is so special. And know that not only that you love that person in the mirror, that everyone else loves that person in the mirror too. And I want you to say that. Everybody loves me, and I have good things to give you. So with that, do that action and be blessed. I just want everybody to know that I produce all of my own music and everything else except for those parts that are created by other individuals that help me out. With that, this is a Muckles Entertainment production. Kick it.